everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mind Over Masculinity, the podcast where we rewrite the script on what it means to be a man in today's world. And I'm your host, Avik, and here we challenge the status quo. Like, dive deep into the emotional landscapes men often avoid and build a life of purpose, strength, and yes, vulnerability as well. So today's guest, whose story reads like a Hollywood script, I would say, dear listeners, but every beat of it is real. So from surviving the unforgiving walls of Rikers Island to weathering Hurricane Katrina and now raising a special needs child with dwarfism and autism. So Dennis Procopio. So welcome to the show, Dennis.
Avik, thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Dennis, like before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Dennis has walked through fire, I'd say, multiple times. But he didn't stop there. He took all that grit, all that life experience, and turned it into a mission. So, he is the founder of Man Up Life Coaching, MULC, an award winning program that has clocked over 10,000 hours of coaching men back into their driver's seat of their lives. So he helps men reclaim the control, discipline, purpose, and peace. So this isn't a therapy, I would say. This is straight talk, hard earned wisdom, and a results driven approach to helping men rise up. So, dear listeners, if you have ever felt stuck, lost, or maybe unsure of how to even take that first step, let's get into it. Welcome to the show again, Dennis.
Okay. So
So, yeah.
yeah. So I appreciate the wonderful intro. Um, and I guess I'll just start off by introducing myself. My name is Dennis Procopio. I'm a 54-year-old man living in Southern California. Um, we all have our stories, obviously. So I don't want to suggest that I've had the hardest life out there, but it's definitely been a hero's journey. And to get to the, I guess, finish line here, I'll just say it began very terribly, but I ended up building a business called Man Up Life Coaching. And we're all familiar with that expression, man up, when you have to uh, be a man and stop being emotional and stop being an overthinker and stop whining and being a ninny, and you just have to discipline yourself to do the thing that you don't want to do. And when I realized that I had developed the skill set to allow me to do that in the face of some significant challenges, I decided to create a business whose mission was brotherly love and helping men because men need men. And also,
Mm.
I believe that I have a pedagogy that was developed both academically and in the street, so to speak, to uniquely be able to help men in a mentorship dynamic where traditional therapy demonstrated that it wasn't working for them.
Understood. That's amazing one, yeah. And so I have to ask you this, like, uh, I mean, do you think? I mean, why do you think that so many men today feel lost, or rather, I would use the word disconnected from themselves? So, what do you say?
If I really wanted to answer your question honestly, I might have to answer a little bit long-windedly. So please feel free to interrupt me if I start monologuing
Sure,
here.
sure, sure.
um, but my experience is working with men ranging from 20 something all the way up to 70 something in all time zones. So even though I am in America, I have a significant number, for instance, of Indian clients who are here on visa or who have had their green card or who are in, as I've said, Bangalore, Chennai, or Kerala, or some guys in the north. And I think that these problems may manifest differently based on some cultural differences. But if I wanted to aim at the universal sort of what, problem with men, it always comes down to the same thing. And I'll share it with you. But again, it's going to be a little bit of a TED Talk. Are you available for that?
Please do share. Yeah.
Okay. In my experience, men who are coming to Man Up life coaching, or I should say to any coaching, but of course I'm going to plug my own business, but men who are coming to a coach saying, I'm having challenges with my masculine role in the world, they're feeling stuck. And the reason that they're feeling stuck, it's actually what I call a failure script that they're reading from, and it's in parts. So it sounds like this. One, they are dealing with self-judgment. Self-judgment because men are rewarded for productivity, just as women are rewarded for being beautiful or, empathetic. Men are rewarded for productivity. And so early on, we equate our value with productivity. When you get good grades, you get rewarded. When you, win a spelling bee, when you, you're in a sport and you win a trophy or whatever, you get rewarded. So we learn to get our value from achievement. And most guys are feeling that they're not living up to their full potential, and they're comparing themselves either to other guys or to a voice in their head that's usually a paternal voice saying, you're not good enough, you could be doing better. So the first step in the failure script that men read off of is self-judgment, because they feel that they're not living up to their own potential. And this can carry over to judging other people as well, because the lens you see yourself through is the lens you'll see others through. That leads to two, depression. Depression and lethargy come from what happens when you swallow the rage of being frustrated, if that makes sense, because you're frustrated because you're not living up to your full potential. So you're mad at yourself. And when you have nice guy syndrome, which Avik, you strike me as somebody who might be in this category. When you have nice guy syndrome, instead of being explosive, you're implosive. You swallow the frustration of not living up to potential, and then you start to lose motivation, you start to lose energy, you start to burn out, and it becomes really hard to do things without a significant amount of discipline. And men often use shame to discipline themselves, which is why the term man up exists. You follow me so far?
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that is the main reason I have also, if you see on Mind Over Masculinity, it says man up. So yeah, it has definitely a meaning. Yes.
Right. And it's even interesting. Well, let me finish the piece and then we can circle back. But I have something to say about the language, mind over masculinity. So step one was on this failure script that men read off of was, again, judgment. Step two becomes depression, because we're lethargic, because we've swallowed a bomb and it's burning up all of our energy. Step three is lack of confidence. So that's necessarily going to be next. When you realize that you're not living up to your own potential and that things are so much harder for you than they seem to be for other achievers out there, and you've got people looking at you, your family, your girlfriend or wife, peers, And even if they're not saying anything, you know that they have expectations. So now you start to lose confidence. You don't feel proud of yourself. You feel the opposite. You feel, um, a little sheepish. And that leads to the next step. That leads to risk avoidance. When you're not confident, you are less likely to take risks. If you have a big fat pimple in the middle of your face, you're less likely to go talk to the pretty girl, Um,
Yeah.
yeah, versus if everybody keeps telling you all day, you're so handsome, you're so handsome, you're so handsome, you'll feel validated, you'll get your confidence up, and you'll go walk up to anybody and say, "Hey, what you doing tonight?" you know, lovely outfit. And so confidence then, well, lack of confidence, as I said, leads to risk avoidance. And, you know, you don't want to take those risks. And that frankly just leads to stagnation. You get stuck. And it's usually here where men say, as you suggested, this is a long answer to your question. I feel lost. I feel disconnected. I don't feel like I'm performing optimally. Um, I'm not especially good at sorting my feelings because men are told to ignore our feelings rather than to process them. And so they just get stuck. And that's where we are. Now, what do you have to say about that?
Exactly. I totally agree on this. Definitely, totally agree on this. And um, also, like, I mean, from that word, man up, um, uh, just to ask, like, what do you feel? I mean, we often use this word, man up, uh, just to, like you said, men are for the productivity, right? So we often use this word for men to kind of motivate or push them forward, or is it something which we uh, criticize in a different way? What do you say on this?
I love the question, and unsurprisingly, at this point, I have a long answer to that. Uh,
Sure,
hey,
sure.
listen, man, I'm a monologuist. I have to talk to guys for 12 hours a day, so get comfortable. Grab a cup of coffee or tea, and here we go. Okay, so the name when I named my business Man Up, um, it was a it was a double entendre. I intended
Yeah.
for it to mean two things at the same time. One, I was very much invoking the shame that men feel when we act immature or
Mhm,
overly emotional. It is emasculating for men to be told that we're acting like a woman or acting like a child. And
mhm,
so the term man up in the
yeah,
traditional sense means stop acting like a child or stop acting like, a little B word, just do your do your job like a man. The problem that many people have with that terminology is that one, it doesn't age well in the West where we are having conversations about um, toxic masculinity.
mhm,
So I have to be very careful what shows I go on because if I
okay.
go on a show that finds the term man up regressive, then I end up having to defend why, as
Mhm,
men, we respond to that
mhm,
internal shaming as a way of motivating. But I want to say
mhm,
also that the reason I call it a double entendre is because what happens when you have a guy fall off of the side of a ship or go down on his motorcycle? The first thing, or get
mhm,
hit by a bullet, the first thing you say is man down,
mhm.
right? And
Right.
man down is exactly what I deal with on the front lines of coaching men. I deal with men who are down, and there is nothing more torturous for a man than to feel like he is down and suffering and useless. And so my job is to help a man to ascend into his, highest vibration of being. And so as a business that is truly rooted in love, the term man up means I like to use the power that the universe has given me to lift men up so that they can do the same in kind. And this, I believe, is how we grow as a fraternity. And in a metaphysical sense, this is how we grow as an organism or a singular consciousness. We heal by helping each
Mm.
other. So that's where this man up thing can be a little bit tricky language. Do you follow that?
Understood. Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, awesome. I mean, I'm also really feeling like if we should have an hour episode, so that would much have been better. But anyways, that's something which is really really great, I would say. And especially like when society tells men to man up, but it gives no roadmap, feels like we are actually stripped away the old models. I mean, without offering the new ones. So yeah. uh, and also like mindfully, like masculinity itself seems to be what to say, under the microscope these days. So what do you think masculinity should look like in today's world?
This is a very tricky question for me to answer
Mhm.
because
Okay.
while I may have a certain amount of wisdom, I'm not God. So the question really asks me to critique the universal design. And I don't know that I know enough about the universal design to give any criticisms on it. I'm a student, but I can share
Mm,
from a high level what I've learned so far. Okay. And
mm,
you're right. This definitely could have been an hour session. So I'll keep an eye on time here.
mm,
Um, Masculinity. In the truest sense, I like to think of the yin yang as
mm,
a pretty efficient symbol of the
mm,
positive and negative, masculine and feminine energy that is in all things. You know, anything electrical is going to have a positive and a negative pole. We're in a vibrational field here, which has
mm,
metaphysical rules that we can see reflected in physics, in our physical rules. So rather than making it about, boys have penises and girls have vaginas, or boys have testosterone and girls have estrogen, I rather think of it in the macro and say, to I guess for a Hindu reference, it would be creator destroyer. There's this, I have some clients who are Brahmins, so
mm,
I'm in these conversations with them about these ideas. And I think when we pull back,
yeah.
the masculine energy is an energy of pursuit. It is
Mhm,
an energy of creation. It is an energy of also destruction.
mm,
It is a very it's a paternal energy,
mm,
and it follows certain rules. Masculine traits tend to be problem solving, um,
mm,
logic, engineering, systematic thinking.
mm.
I noticed that feminine traits, and I did not say females, I said feminine traits, because I believe just like the yin yang,
Yes,
there's both inside of us. And that can be a challenging
exactly.
concept to reckon with for a
Mm,
masculine man. That you're,
mm.
for instance, when you're a nurturing father to your daughter,
Yeah.
that's a feminine trait. When you are empathetic to your wife and
Mm,
listen to her feelings instead of telling her to get to the point or go tell that crap to her sister,
Mm-hmm.
you're you're demonstrating uh feminine traits. And so to answer your question here,
Mm-hmm.
I think that historically circumstances have required men to be very stereotypically providers, protectors, problem solvers, and have required women to be nurturers, gatherers, home organizers, um, parents, nurses, mommies. And I think that we're coming into an age where, because we don't have the same external problems that we had before, we're becoming more balanced in our masculine and feminine uh, characteristics. And I think it becomes confusing for men because we're feeling less needed than we were when we were barbarians and cowboys.
Mm-hmm. True.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. I mean, this side is also there. Yeah, definitely. Mm. I mean, yes, definitely. Like, I have heard some men push back, saying this conversation, weaken men, they fear losing traditional strength. So, um, yeah, in that sense, definitely. So, yeah, amazing. And thank you so much. It's really, really a great conversation, Dennis. I know the time is constrained, but I really, really, really wanted to continue this. But then also, this is really an incredible conversation, and I think a lot of men who are listening right now, or maybe they will be listening, uh, just feel like someone finally sees them.
Yes.
For yeah, and for every man out there, for you, dear listeners, like who are feeling stuck or maybe they are lost, uh, or know that this is just the beginning, not the end. It's not about um, perfection. It's all about the progress that we do or made. So, if Dennis' word hit home for you, dear listeners, check out Man Up Life Coaching and take that next step. And you don't have to do this alone, for sure. And so, Dennis, like if someone wants to connect with you and want to have a discussion and join this, so how they can do that?
Okay. Well, if you're an Indian client, I can tell you from experience that you're probably not going to tell anyone that you're working with me.
Yeah.
because you wait a minute, you have a coach for your life, what kind of man are you? But I have a lot of guys, and they found me at malelifecoach.com.
Mhm.
That's a testament to how long I've been working that I have that.
Mm.
I am also at manuplifecoaching.com. And just for an understanding of what we do here, uh, if you reach out to me, I will give you a one-on-one session where we will discuss the problems in your life. And if you discover that I'm affordable and interesting to work with,
Mhm.
we'll probably be together for 12 to 24 months. We'll meet once a week. And during that
Mm.
time, I will help you to solve problems in your own life that involve relationship, fathering, marriage, uh,
Mm.
making more money at the job, pressure, family stress, all of that, just the way you might with a therapist, only with a guy who really, really understands you as a dude and can help you to not only perform better, but really to
Mm.
feel understood, to feel loved as a man, and to be a happier person. So again, it's
Right.
manuplifecoaching.com, or more simply, malelifecoach.com.
Amazing. That's amazing. Lovely. Great. So, dear listeners, I'll put all the links again on the show notes. You already have heard it, but I'll mention it in the show notes for your easy reference. And as always, this is Mind Over Masculinity, and we'll see you next time where we keep rewriting the rules and building a new kind of strength. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.